this is the free stuff, and I'm getting so much value out of it. Like I would have paid for this.
Here's how to do research. 7 closes at 5K is 35K. This is kind of the game that you're kind of playing with. Now you have a machine that's consistently making you 50 to 100K a month.
I'm 3 months in now to the ad camp since I launched ads on Facebook. And you know, what I've found is I think that ad source is good for emergency law, as I call it. So, you know, immigration, criminal, and definitely personal injury. You're getting a lot of potentially good leads in there. For me looking for a higher end clientele, I don't feel like that's probably the best source. So my first question is, you know, if that's the clientele I'm looking for, I'm not saying there's none on there, but what is your recommendation in terms of, you know, the best marketing for that kind of clientele?
Great. What's the practice type?
Real estate.
What I would do, but it's not just tied to this. I will also give a list of your competitors or people that do what you do to see if they run ads. Give me a list of like law firm names that are kind of successful.
Berlin, Pat and Ebling.
And here's how to do research. So I would first start off with Google. I would go to their website. I would try to find their Facebook page name. It's usually should be on their website, just like this right here. And I got their name. Take this. Either sometimes it has it right here, but what I like to do is the Facebook ad library. And Vinny shared the link in the chat. So let's see if they're running any ads. They are running ads. What I'm actually first thing I'm gonna do. I can't help myself. I'm like so used to doing this every day for the last 6 or 7 years. I can't help myself. Okay, so let's see. First, I will look to see how long they've been doing it. Coincidentally, they just started yesterday. So this kind of gives me indication that they're probably either we just got super lucky. They started yesterday, or they're probably every time that they have a seminar, that's when they run ads. So from what I've seen, is Mike Smith here, by the way. There's a prime time for me and Mike Smith to talk this out. So from what I've seen, I've been consulting and helping Mike Smith with estate planning. And we've got some good breakthroughs. So what we learned from estate planning is it seems like it's hard to go straight into lead gen for estate planning. So the best chance of success is lead to a webinar, ideally a live webinar, not a recorded one. Recorded one only comes after you do a bunch of live ones. You get really good at doing the live one there where you could potentially record. I wouldn't do a full webinar, but I would do like a VSL, like a short VSL, 10 minutes, maybe 10-minute VSL. And then at that point do recorded ones. But at least for the first couple months, it will be a live webinar. I will be promoting the live webinar basically to get registrations for that. Once they register, hardcore texting to text them right away, give them something, a worksheet or an incentive for them to either something to fill out or an incentive for them to show up. You try to get as many people as you can to register and show up. So let me kind of write it down how I think about it. I just say I spend $5,000 Facebook ads. I get about 200 registrations. About 100 of those show up. So I have a 50% show up rate. And then out of those 100 people that show up, let's just say 20 people book, call. And then from that, 15 show up to the book call. And then from the 15, let's just say I get 7 closes. The 7 closes at 5K is 35K. This is kind of the game that you're kind of playing with. Only you're kind of doing this every 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
And then every time you're doing it, you're optimizing each part of this process. So for example, there's registration. Okay, well, a lot of that registration comes down to your ads and creatives, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that could be done. Every time that you launch these, you have different kind of creatives, images or videos that you're putting up. From that, you're going to find the one winner that's going to get you more and more registrations. Great. Then your next challenge is show-ups. Okay, well, what can you give away or as an incentive or have them start engaging with you, fill out a worksheet or something like that to increase those show-up rates? It comes down to engagement. It's like how much you engage with them before they show up. Great. Next is how well do you do your education? Is it, engaging, value-driven, really good at sales, not too pushy, getting them engaged, getting them, super engaged in order for you to get as many bookings as you can. Great. Once you get the booking, again, continue that engagement to make sure that they show up or give them enough reason to show up. And then from there, really good sales, strong sales where, they show up to this call. Obviously, if took all those steps, they registered, they attended your thing, they also booked the time with you. Like if at that point, you're not getting like a 70, 80% close rates, then something wrong with your sales. I just did these numbers very, very conservatively to give you an idea. That's what it takes. This is probably the only chance to make it work. Is it a lot of work? Yes, in relative terms compared to other things, but this is kind of the reality of what it takes in the education kind of spaces, the real estate, the estate planning, those kinds of things where it requires a little bit more education, less urgency kind of fields.
Yeah. So it's more nurturing.
Yeah, a little bit more elongated kind of funnel, where it's more education, more engaging, drawing it out. But that doesn't mean people haven't done it successfully or are not doing it successfully. I think a good place to start at is look at the estate planning ones. A bunch of these people are doing it consistently. I've been doing it for many, many years.
Yeah.
Built a machine out of it. I know it seems like a lot of work, but it could be fun, especially when you get your first kind of sales like this. The light, you get a flashing light, you're like, shoot, I could actually do this. I can actually make money from this. Once you do it, it kind of builds a momentum. You do the second one, third one, every time you're improving it, you're getting better at this. And then potentially down the line, maybe year two, you delegate this out to somebody in your team to start doing it.
Yeah.
Now you have a machine that's, consistently making you 50 to 100K a month, using this machine.
Right.
So
yeah, I just wanted to add, you're getting leads from ads as well. It's a bit slow. I know there are clients who are not willing to pay on the first sign up. They take time. That's why nurturing is very important. But if we see over here, if the stats that we see that we have spent only $5,800 till now since the start of our ads, like in the last season.
This is great. You have to assume if you're doing Facebook, 90% are not qualified. They're trash, they're spam. They're people that are like, how'd you get my number?
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. That's just the reality of it. But that does not mean you will not be successful. And it kills you when you're the one dealing with, calling these leads. That's why we never encourage, you doing it.
Yeah.
When
we just changed that.
when you have a dedicated integrator calling these leads all day long, then, it makes it, a lot more worthwhile to do.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree with you. Obviously, there's more cost to this, of course. But when it comes to pure marketing, you only should be essentially just looking at this to help you scale. And then you could do your own back of the napkin thing to see. But just for the sake of growing and scaling, you look at this. But yeah, of course, take into consideration the other costs.
Yeah.
But this is positive sign. When it comes to marketing, this is very profitable.